What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you how I was able to get strong enough to bench press 505 pounds at a point in my life. All right, now, this is one of those few things that I've mentioned before. I've touched on in other videos that some of you call me a liar about. All right, so first of all, I don't appreciate being called a fucking liar about anything. I don't give a fuck about dumb shit like this. In case you haven't noticed, I don't go around bragging, saying how strong I was at one point or what I could lift or do. I don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. I don't lie about anything. This is what the fuck happened. So for those of you who can't believe that it was even possible that I did these things, that's the exact reason why you personally will never fucking do anything great. Because in order to achieve greatness in anything, the first key component that is absolutely required is your belief in your ability to do it. So for those of you who just are of that mindset that it's impossible, continue on in that way and watch as you accomplish nothing of greatness in your life. All right? So with that out of the way, here's how it happened, guys. All right? When I was very young, okay, starting from age 13, let's say, I was put into juvenile detention facilities. And during that time was when I started doing push-ups regularly, all right? I wasn't into weights. I didn't have access to weights. There was no gym there. I was doing push-ups non-stop, and I worked my way up to the point at that young age where I was able to do 1,000 push-ups a day, okay? This is the proof of where my strength came from, what I'm about to say now with regard to this, all right? I had not ever bench pressed. I had never bench pressed before, actually in a gym or anything like that. After getting released from doing about a year in juvenile detention, my mom convinced me and begged me to try to go back to school. Some of you have heard this story or parts of it in other videos. I went back to school, and during that short time that I was there, it was only for a couple weeks, during a gym class, they took us to the weight room where the athletes worked out, the football players or whatever. In that weight room, okay, the gym teacher, who had issue with me for other reasons in the past, didn't like me, tried to embarrass me and used me to humiliate me, all right? So there was a Smith machine, not a Smith machine, I'm sorry, the old universal weight sets where it's a bunch of different machines connected together, and they all have the stackable plates where you pull the pin out and adjust the weight. There was the bench press there, and he asked me to get on the bench. Basically, he's like, so since you're the fucking tough guy around here, you get on the bench and show everybody how easy this is for you to do, that you could do this. I had never done this in my fucking life before, this machine or this kind of exercise. He racked the whole thing, which was 300 pounds, it said, of plates. It's not actually 300. It probably was closer to like 225, maybe 240, 250 max when you transfer it to free weight. All right? And he put me on there thinking there's no fucking way that I can move that stack. And he was wrong. I was able to rep it. I was able to rep the whole fucking stack. And there were football players, there were guys that were way bigger than me that couldn't even move the shit. This is the proof of what I'm saying to you. How the fuck was I able to do that if I had never practiced that actual exercise? My body wasn't familiar with that movement, but it actually was. And it was very familiar with that movement because of push-ups. You guys got to understand, get yourself out of that fucking molded mindset where there's no other way to achieve strength and improvements and progress other than that which everyone agrees and tells you is the standard. There are many ways to get there, okay? Push-ups for me, the way I think about it is this. A lot of you guys, most of you guys who lift, you probably hit bench or chest once or twice a week. You probably do 2 to 3 exercises, 3 to 4 sets with 8 to 12 reps, let's say. So for your entire chest workout, if you work out twice per week, you do chest twice, all right? You're hitting maybe 50 to 80 reps. That's how much you're hitting for the whole week. While you're doing that, I'm hitting at least 5,000 to 6,000 push-ups in that same time frame. So just imagine, even though I don't have weight on it, even though I'm not allowing my body to get accustomed to heavy weight in that regard, I am mimicking this movement thousands of times. You guys are doing it much, much fewer times than I am. And in doing those thousands and thousands, 30,000 plus push-ups per month, my body, okay, all the muscle fiber, all the tissue, the connective tissue, hardens and turns to a fucking rock because I'm doing it so many times. So for me, even if I don't bench for years, at any point in my life since I was young, I can get on a bench and I can put 3 plates on and I can bench 315 without a fucking problem. This is how I gain my strength. Tens of thousands of repetitions of that movement. It's exactly the same movement, guys. Look, I'm doing the bench, I'm doing the push-up, I'm doing the bench. It's the same movement. Your body gets so familiar with pounding them out thousands of times that shit is easy for me. This is how I got it. And later on in life, I got even stronger, way stronger, as I started gaining weight. That's a key component also. I was never able to lift those big numbers until I started force-feeding myself and intentionally gaining weight. Weight is one of the biggest contributing factors to strength, in my opinion, in my experience. For every 10 pounds even of body weight that I put on, I could see a significant difference in strength. It doesn't even all have to be muscle. It could be a combination of muscle or fat, whatever it is, okay? It makes a very big difference. So later in life, in my early 20s, I spent time in county jails and I spent time in prison. During that time, for a lot of the time, I didn't have access to weights. But I continued with those 1,000+ push-ups every single day, plus other exercises. So anytime I did have access to the weights, even if it was only once every couple months, when I went in there, I was able to bench over 400 pounds without a problem, all right? Before I even went to jail, I worked in Gold's Gym in California that was owned by a professional bodybuilder, and I ended up there because my father-in-law bought that Gold's Gym and asked me to go out there and work with him, all right? He died very shortly after, so it never worked out. But for that period of time, I was in this gym. When I was there, I took steroids, okay? Because all these pro bodybuilders were there. When I took steroids, I was even stronger, all right? At that point, on this stuff, I was repping 405 without a problem. For 10 to 12 reps, I could hit 405. At that time, I never tried to go real heavy beyond that. I probably went up to 465, something like that, but I never trained or tested myself for 1 rep maxes, okay? So years later, when I go through the jail and go through the prison and come out of that, I'm much bigger now, okay? I went into jail at 165 pounds. At that time in California, when I was on the steroids, I was probably 195 as a max, between 190 and 195. I went to jail at 168 pounds, okay? And when I came out of prison years later, at my heaviest ever, probably 2 weeks after I came out of prison, because I gained some weight right away just from eating street food, I weighed myself at 234 pounds. That difference in body weight was a huge factor in how much I can lift. And it was then, after prison, that one day in a gym, I hit that 505. And I hit it twice. Twice I hit it. Okay? And the reason why I did it, I was never about testing my strength. A friend of mine asked me to go to a gym with him. So I went with him. And in that gym, while we're working out, there were these fucking guys there, meathead, juicehead motherfuckers. And I was on nothing at this time. I didn't take nothing after that. I wasn't on steroids. I was just big. These guys were somehow talking shit. I don't know what. I didn't even hear it. My friend says he heard something. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about that. I wanted to move on. My friend's like, man, just show these guys that you could lift this shit that they're doing. They're thinking they're fucking hot shit. They're benching 350 pounds, whatever. I was already done with my workout. I had already completed an hour of weight training. And this guy provoked me and somehow convinced me to do this shit. And it was then, in front of these guys, a group of 3 of them, my friend, and in this gym, that I put on 505 pounds, okay? That's 5 45-pound plates and a 5 on each side. And I unracked it and I hit it for 2 in this gym in front of these people, and I re-racked it, and I got up and left. All right? So what I'm telling you is, not only did I do 505, but if I had actually trained for this specifically and continued without injury, I believe I could have hit 600 pounds if I was willing to allow myself to continue to gain body weight as well, which I didn't really like. I felt real sluggish and heavy. I ended up getting injured. I tore my pec, okay? I tore my pec repping 405 on an incline, and my pec tore. My brother was spotting me in this gym, and I heard rip. Ever since then, I was never able to get back to those heavy pounds that I did. In addition, I had that serious back injury where my back is fucked up for the last 9-10 years already, so I never lifted heavy again after that. I never had the motivation to or the reason to, okay? Because I know some of you are going to say, oh, put it on video and do it. I don't give a fuck about that, guys. I don't give a fuck if you believe it. I don't give a fuck what you think. There were no fucking cell phones, or people weren't filming shit in the gym back then, or in jail, in prison, when I was doing shit like this. Nobody gave a fuck about impressing other people, and I still don't give a fuck about that. I'm sharing this video with you guys because a lot of you are closed-minded to the point where you're never going to progress. You keep on doing the same fucking exercises and movements that are not producing the results for you because everyone else does them, because that's the commonly accepted knowledge. Don't continue doing shit that doesn't work for you. For me personally, I don't like to bench press. Bench press is not a good movement for me, for my body. If it doesn't feel right, I feel like if I go real heavy, I'm going to tear shit. Something's going to tear. I don't do that. I do thousands of push-ups instead and some other exercises. Go through and find out what exercises work for you and work on those. And don't think for one fucking second that in order to get strong and lift heavy weights, you must lift heavy weights. Don't ever think that. That's not true. I'm the proof of it. And so many other guys who came up like me doing push-ups, we're the fucking proof of it. All right? So just open your minds to this possibility. Try doing these push-ups like I do. Work your way up slowly. Don't feel defeat or disappointment if you can't do hundreds at a time in your first day. Slowly build your body's ability up, even if you can only do 10 push-ups in the beginning. It doesn't matter. Continue to the point where you can do hundreds, even 1,000 plus in one day. You can break it up throughout the day if you have to. You can break it into 2 sessions, however works for you. And I guarantee you, when you can do 1,000 plus push-ups a day, your bench will be considerably stronger than it is now. Way stronger. All right? So I hope that answered some of the questions. I hope you guys got something informative and positive out of this video. Most important, to not be limited in your mindset. I lifted that weight because I didn't give a fuck, and I didn't have no fear of that weight. People used to ask me, how do your bones not break? And I used to just, my mind didn't think like that. My mind thought, when I get under that weight, I'm going to fucking unrack this, and I'm going to lift this shit and put it back no matter what. No matter what. There was never a second of fear or hesitation or thought that this is impossible. Because if I had those thoughts like so many of you have, that weight would have just fucking crushed me. All right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.